entire WagerTalk family would like to wish our very own Hakeem Prophet and Rob Vino a happy birthday with a special 2-for-1 promotion to lock in both handicappers for the next 3 days at the price of one. Rob and Ski both celebrate their birthday on Wednesday, but we want to keep this party going for 3 days. So instead of paying $118 to bet alongside them, we cut the price in half and you can lock them both up for 3 days for only $59. Happy birthday and happy betting.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. He's Teddy Covers. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. And, Teddy, we got a good show today. Look, I screwed up. I thought Trigger was today. He's tomorrow, but we got Carm today. We also have Las Vegas Cris. He was on last week. Everybody was like, we love Cris. Get him on more. So we got him on. He's going to talk Jags and Browns game. That's going to be exciting. Jacksonville playing Houston and Cleveland playing. I've gone blank. I worked till 4 a.m. on the NFL last night, and I gone blank. Who's Cleveland playing? I'm in that game.
The Chargers.
San Diego Chargers. Yes, and Carm will be on with the NFL teaser for you all and an EPL play, and of course Art DiCesare. Teddy, I got some stuff to talk about. We'll do it after. What did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting last night?
So I didn't learn this last night. I've learned it over the last 25 years, and today is the day to talk about it. And the question is, we saw the first losing Sunday of the year for the bookmakers this past NFL Sunday in week 4. And going back, and again, this is something that you notice again and again over the years. It's like, it feels like the books have more losing Sundays and casual bettors have more big Sundays in the NFL in October than any other month. I'm saying to myself, why is that? So I came up with some reasons, and we can go through by month. September, the wise guys have the edge. They know about they've done off-season prep, and the casual fan hasn't. So, we saw wise guy money on Philly early. We saw wise guy money against Pittsburgh early this year, just for example, where the public was still like, not there yet. So September, wise guys do have an edge because they've done the work. By November, the public has fallen in love with teams, and now a lot of those teams are overvalued. And meanwhile, at the same time, the season-long stats, by November, they're meaningful, and the sharp bettors use them. By December, look, there's legit value with some bad teams that are still trying. And the sharps always bet against the mediocre must-win teams, and the Joes bet on them. That's a losing proposition for the Joes. Yeah. Playoff lines are really tight, just as important to be lucky as good in January. So October's kind of the sweet spot for recreational bettors, and we saw it last week. Merrill talked about it on Monday. My pros versus Joes tweet, the Joes won all 5 games. And again, the books had the first losing Sunday of the season. In this time of the year, the wise guys, the pro bettors, are still concerned with what teams were supposed to be, not what teams actually are. And the pros tend to overreact to the quarterback injuries. We've seen that a lot so far this season. The teams with the hurt quarterbacks keep covering numbers. The Joes aren't worried about injuries. They're more interested in teams, and the Joes watch. It's not about stats. The eye test in September can pay dividends in October. So it's worth noting, Prez, the contrarian plays failed last week, and we can expect a couple of more Sundays like that this month. Not that Joe's going to kill it every Sunday. They've got a better chance right now than at any other point of the season, at least in this bettor's opinion. What do you think?
I think that was an awesome take. I'm not adding anything. It stands by itself. That was excellent. I also think I look good in white, but that's a different conversation. Teddy, I'm gonna tell everybody something that should get you guys a lot of free dinners. I have done this myself over my lifetime at least 30, 40 times. So here it is. It is Ski and Rob Vino's birthday today. Happy birthday, Ski and Rob Vino. 2 gentlemen that we both know with the exact same birth date, not your date. So here's what I want to tell you guys. Teddy, if you ask 30 random people their birth date, not your April 2nd, what do you think the chances are that two of those people have the same birth date? 365
Very
days
high.
in a year. It
Fairly
is
high.
86%.
Sure.
Nobody would think that in a million years. I have been out for dinner and I have turned to people at the table and said, I will bet you the bill. You pick 30 random people and I will bet you the bill that two of them have the same birth date. That is 9% of the birth dates available in the year. 30 people, 365 days. I have never lost that bet in my life.
Stop, because it's clearly a made-up story. At no point did you go and
It is
go,
not
30 people. What's your birthday? What's your birthday? What's your birthday?
What?
Explain the logistics of that, dude. It can't happen. There's no way.
Firstly, it's
and look,
me.
The fact that you're blushing right now, you know you just got busted. You never did that.
Teddy, on my children's life, I've done that. On my
Where do
children's
you find 30
life.
people that are going to give you their birthday randomly? 30 strangers that are like, oh,
It's
yeah, here's my
me.
birthday. And then someone's writing
Teddy,
them down,
stop.
and then you won
Stop.
20 meals off of that? Come on, Prez.
Stop.
If you're going to give stories, make them believable.
Teddy, that is a 100% true story, whether you like it or not. And it's me. You don't think that I can walk up to 30 random strangers and get them to give me their birth date?
Not
Me.
20 times. No. No, you
Oh,
know
I've done it
I
more
got
than
15,
20.
20 bed
Dude,
dinners
you
off
want,
of
you
this.
want to know where? You want to know who taught me that thing? Grade 7 math class. I walk into grade 7 math class. The teacher turns to us. He says, "There's 32 of you in the class." He put everybody's birthday up on the board. 5 doubles. So I have known about this since grade 7. I have done it at least 20, 30 times, whether you believe it or not. So there we go. Las Vegas Cris joining us. Any thoughts on anything we've spoken about so far?
Yeah, if you have a group of 23 people, the odds are greater than 50% that two people have the same birthday.
It's amazing how that works.
Yep.
Cris, welcome back to WagerTalk Today. We had a great segment with you last week. Thanks for coming back on.
Well, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while.
Oh, are we going to talk about broken watches being right? Like, come on, dude. You're like literally one of the top sports bettors on the planet. Not at WagerTalk, on the planet.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I try hard.
Okay, fair enough. Jacksonville -7 against Houston. When was the last time Jacksonville was -7, and how do we bet this game?
Well, I have to say that this is week 5 where my model kicks in, and my model is something I've relied on for 7+ years and has brought great results. Unfortunately, about 20 to 25% of the games I bet are games I want nothing to do with and make me nauseous. So I think this Jaguars-Houston matchup is pretty interesting. I thought that Houston would bring more to the plate this season, but I think this Lovie Smith just, he's lost it. He was a good coach back in the early 2000s. He went to college, and he's basically useless at this point. Surprisingly enough, everybody thinks Houston's the worst team in the league. I don't have them in the bottom 5 in either category, and I've got great teams in that bottom 5. So Houston's a little bit better than they have been. Jacksonville, laid a turd sandwich last week, blowing a 14-0 lead, but other than those last 3 quarters in the rain, which Trevor Lawrence has a history of not faring well in the rain, Jacksonville has been very, very good, and you have to take them seriously. So my metric is spitting out Jacksonville by quite a comfortable margin here. So I recommend laying the -7. I wouldn't lay 7.5 under any circumstance, but I think Jacksonville's going to get back on track, back with home cooking. They played 3 of their games on the road already, and Houston Lovie Smith is just going to always get in the way with Houston.
So, Lawrence, by the way, the Jacksonville Jaguars were 6-point home favorites last year. To the same Houston Texans. They lost that game outright at home by 2 touchdowns. But the Jags have not been favored very often in recent years as a home favorite. I have them with 2 covers as a home favorite since the start of the 2018 season. Do you worry about that kind of stuff, Cris, where a team, not only have to win, they have to win by margin, and this team has no history of winning by margin? Or is this year's Jaguars squad different in the sense of we don't need to worry about last year's team or the team 3 years ago? This year's squad is capable of covering a point spread like this, whereas previous squads wasn't. How do you do with that history of not being able to cover numbers as chalk?
I think this is a situation where it's clear that this team is operating at a different level than we've seen in years past. So I throw that basically out. I just don't think it's the same team. You added all these free agents. Other than Philadelphia, they're scoring a ton of points, and Philadelphia is nothing to sneeze at. They're a fine ball club. So there's nothing embarrassing about losing to the Eagles. Spotting them 14 is a little disheartening, but I believe they come home, and I don't love it because I do kind of like Houston. To kind of stick in the bicycle spokes in some teams' Sundays, but I hope it's not this week. I think Jacksonville will come to play either and likely can really run up the table on or run the points up on them.
Las Vegas, Cris joining us, everyone. Exclusive handicapper over at WagerTalk.com. Cris, let's talk Cleveland Browns. They're hosting the LA Chargers. They are +3. And the number here is 48. +3 for Cleveland seems a little delicious to me right now. What are you doing?
Yeah, this is a pretty solid play for me. The Chargers are decimated with injuries. They're missing this it factor to become an elite team for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. They just can't take this next step. Sorry, I'm watching the board move.
But
I don't have
betting takes priority.
It does. I've been on other shows betting it before, but here's the surprising thing with the Chargers. They're usually at the top with their offense. I've got them 14th in the league right now on offense, and I've got them down to 24th in defense. So they're painfully mediocre at this point, and you're going to ask them to go on the road and lay 3? Why? What have they done? They've done nothing. I have Cleveland rated higher, both offensively and defensively, and they've been a disappointment. I feel that they're better than whatever they currently rank. So I think Cleveland, I think they get some players back. I saw returning back to practice today. I know that they're not happy. They wanted to come out of these first 4 games 3-1 or 4-0, and they're only 2-2. And they're a better team than that. They're a well-rounded team, and they just need Brissett not to make any errors. Yeah. I think, this 3 is ridiculous, and I don't expect it to stay there much longer, quite frankly.
So the issue with Cleveland, and we saw it last week very clearly against Atlanta, where the Falcons were able to just run the ball down their throat. Mariota didn't even have to do anything in that ballgame. But they've got cluster injuries on the defensive line. Winovich is out. Garrett and Clowney very questionable this week. And last week, they did not control the line of scrimmage. Do you worry at all about those defensive line injuries, those cluster injuries for Cleveland on the defensive line against Chargers offense that may have disappointed so far, but is still a fairly potent unit?
It is. But and you always have to worry about these cluster injuries. But I think one of the things a lot of people that do this for a living are finding out is cluster injuries became a hot topic a few years ago, but people have generally overreacted to those. It's not like they have the invisible man or nobody to replace these players. You saw the Lions 2 weeks ago missing 3 of their offensive linemen, and they won outright. So, there are players to step in these situations. There is time to prepare ahead of time rather than losing these players during the game and being caught flat-footed. So that helps them out a little bit. Obviously, it's a point of concern, but I think it's oftentimes overrated, and people did make too large of a deduction for the cluster injuries. And and different cluster injuries have different values, and it's matchup related. So you can't just arbitrarily say, "Oh, this is a disaster." But this does seem important. But the Chargers aren't firing on all cylinders, so that kind of helps out the situation for them.
Yeah, Las Vegas, Cris, everyone. I mean, yeah, that entire defensive line looks like it might be out. And that's really, Cris, when I say Cleveland looks delicious to me, I mean, I want to bet Cleveland here. I just, without that defensive line, I mean, Atlanta was able to run the ball down their throat the entire fourth quarter last week. So that is what's keeping me off this game. My brother, what do you have to promote?
Oh, I'm just promoting that my NFL has started off well, 20-12.
Nice.
And the model is just kicking in. I expect a very good year. I actually have an all-access package where all the lines are still available. I upgraded one of the plays to 5%, and I have a 5% in Major League Baseball today. So it's going to be a big week. I'm going to have a lot of plays, 7, 8, 9 plays in NFL in that all-access package. So excited about the weekend coming up.
Guys, if you have never bought Las Vegas, Cris, I got to tell you, and Teddy, take a minute, because you have all access, Teddy. Take a minute and read Las Vegas Chris's analysis. It is the most personable analysis you will ever read. It's written in first person. Even in one of your plays that I was reading last night, Cris, you actually discussed why you drink alcohol. So it's an exceptional read. That is for sure. Anyway, brother, thanks for joining us. We'll keep bringing you on every couple of weeks. Good luck this week. You're awesome. Teddy, get ready, my boy. We got the big game breakdown, which is Thursday night's tonight's college football game. What do you want to say? I see your hands, bro.
Yeah, I was trying to say it because you said that we don't. The Garrett and Clowney were going to play for Cleveland. Let's leave that. That may not are not going to play. Let's leave that as a very questionable status.
Yes.
We don't know yet if either guy is going to suit up. They're both. Well, Winovich is out, but the other two are questionable. I just wanted to make that clear. It's important for us to give accurate information as well as having strong personality, Lawrence. When we come back, my big game breakdown. We're going to talk college football tonight. UCF, SMU. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The entire WagerTalk family would like to wish our very own Hakeem Prophet and Rob Vino a happy birthday with a special 2-for-1 promotion to lock in both handicappers for the next 3 days at the price of one. Rob and Ski both celebrate their birthday on Wednesday, but we want to keep this party going for 3 days. So instead of paying $118 to bet alongside them, we cut the price in half and you can lock them both up for 3 days for only $59. Happy birthday and happy betting.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk Wednesday night college football, ESPN2, UCF, and SMU. Look at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now. I'm seeing UCF. They've been bet off the threes. The threes are pretty much gone right now. There's a handful of them still there, but most places have UCF minus 2.5. That line's been bouncing or heading south all week. You can still find threes if you shop around, but there aren't that many left. The total got bet down earlier this morning. It's been bet up, I think, since the show started. was 62 earlier. Now we're looking at 63.5 out there as the prevailing number. So we are seeing two-way action on the total. I'm in play on the total for the clients tonight. So I'm going to talk about the side right here, looking for a strong bounce back in college football this weekend after a strong start to the season got destroyed with an awful day last Saturday. This is a UCF squad that won, 9 games last year. They're 3-1 this year. But, this is a big but, they really haven't played a whole lot of talented teams. They played South Carolina State. They played Florida Atlantic. They played Georgia Tech. They do have the one signature win against the loss against Louisville, where they did step up, but Louisville wasn't playing well at that stage, and that was just a weird game. It was one of those games that was like, what? But when you look at their statistical profile right now, this is a team that's running the football well and a team that is ranked number 1 in the AAC against the pass. I want you to beware of college football stats. They're number 1 in the conference against the pass because they haven't faced a whole lot of good passing teams yet. 3 of the 4 teams they faced couldn't throw the football at all, and the 4th had a rough game against them. I've watched this team several times. I've been underimpressed. They have solid skill position speed. They have a decent defense, but that's about the only thing that stands out. Now, the bounce house might be rocking tonight, but we saw SMU stand toe-to-toe with Maryland on the road. They only punted once in that ball game. They lost last week or a week and a half ago to TCU. That loss doesn't look so bad in retrospect after they annihilated Oklahoma last week. The loss to Maryland doesn't look so bad after Maryland stood toe-to-toe with Michigan. You know, this is their conference opener, and they beat this team 55-28 in Dallas last year. I'm not convinced that we've seen a 4-touchdown turnaround from UCF from a season ago. I like Tanner Mordecai, the returning quarterback for SMU. I think he takes care of business tonight. And, the Hurricane only messed up one of these 2 teams' game prep. I like the dog here. Find a +3. Take SMU plus the points. I think they'll hang around. I think a solid chance to win this game outright. Prez, back to you.
Teddy covers. Abel agrees with you. Jessica agrees with you. Big Daddy agrees with you. Those are 3 of our regular listeners. Shout out to them.
Awesome.
Brother, let's bring Carmine in. Carmine, dude, you are the talk of Wager Talk right now. Everybody's talking about you. And in our group of friends, I'm getting text messages from people talking about you. It's amazing stuff. A sincere, heartfelt congratulations for an incredible first quarter. I don't think I've ever gone 18-1-1 in 20 plays in my life. You did it when it counted. Way to go, dude. Way to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I got there. It's unrealistic to think that you're ever good enough to go 18-1-1. I just hoped going into week 3 or week 4, I'm like, regression is going to hit you at some point. If it's going to hit me, can it hit me like in week 5 or week 6 and not in week 4? So I could at least hit a quarter, which would be great. And it worked out well. So I'm pretty happy about it. And I want to thank Teddy. And you as well, Prez, because Teddy sent me a bunch of messages over the weekend. Dave Koken sent me messages, just saying good luck on your plays. I don't want to mush you. Let me know who you're on so I can cheer. And it's always funny because Prez will not message me, Teddy, because he knows that I hate telling him my plays, and I don't. And he messaged me on Sunday. He goes, I'm not going to say anything because I know you don't want me to say anything. And I sent him my plays. I'm like, it's in the gambling god's hands. Whatever happens, happens. But Teddy, I really appreciate the messages from you, and Marco and Koken and just pretty much everyone from Wager Talk. It was fantastic. So I really appreciate it.
So look, you just won $100,000, all right, $105,000 US, which is, and I know you may have a partner you have to pay, but you want a nice chunk of change. Where's the jewelry, man? Where's the new outfit? Where's the, aren't you going to, you look exactly the same, man. You sound the same. I was thinking you're going to feel like
where's your hair?
A different Carm today.
Yeah, where's your hair? Going to Turkey to get new hair, yeah. No, listen, I don't even own a watch. Teddy, I don't own a watch. If I need the time, I look at my iPhone. I look at my iPhone if I need to look at the time. I just don't have one. My wife's getting a new vehicle. She wanted an SUV. She wanted the Honda. So the 2023 Honda CRV is now coming out. So I'm going to take her there. It comes in Canyon Blue, which is her favorite color. And that's what she's getting. So that's the rest I'm going to bank.
Strange adjective to go before the word blue. Canyon Blue.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be Canyon Brown? But anyway, Carmine, tell us about Sunday real quick. Were you freaking out?
Yeah. I was at I watched the games at Buffalo Wild Wings with some friends. It's a routine, and after the first 3 weeks of going 5-0, I said I don't want to break the routine. Went there, and the girl brought me the little stress footballs that WagerTalk gave out. They had the Buffalo Wild Wings one. She goes, because she just saw me for 6 hours of watching football. I sat down for maybe 30 minutes total and didn't go to the bathroom while having some beers and water. And she brought me this, and she's like, "You look stressed." And then my friend explained it to her, and she goes, "Okay." So yeah, it wasn't the greatest start to the 1:00 games. The Bills looked absolutely horrible. The Giants didn't look that great. The games weren't going well. The only loss was the Cleveland Browns, and they could have pulled it out. The only draw, which would have given me the outright win, was the Bills at 3. And it's kind of like what Marco said to you guys on Monday. If Harbaugh goes for the field goal, the Bills probably go downfield, score a touchdown, get the extra point, and win by 4. Instead, they took a knee, 3 knees, and kicked the field goal. So it is what it is, to use that adjective.
Carm, let's get to some actionable info, my brother. You've got a teaser for us in NFL for Week 5. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, so this is an actual client play of mine in the NFL, and I'm going to look at the first game is the Jacksonville-Houston game. When I was on last week, I said I'm going to, I went against Jacksonville taking the Chargers. I'm going to continue to fade Houston. They're not a very good team. I get it. People look at Mills and say he's putting up some good numbers, but when you're trailing in most of your games, if not all of them, you're in a pass defense more than you are a run defense. And then Jacksonville threw an absolute clunker in last week. Mainly because of the 5 turnovers in Philadelphia. So it is another back-to-back good passing teams that this Houston defense is going to play. And if not for the Chargers letting up in the second half, that was a blowout and should have been a much bigger blowout than the 10 points. And then the second game I'm going to look at is Chicago and Minnesota. The Bears 2-2 record is flattering. They beat San Francisco in that flood at Soldier Field or whatever. They're 2-2, but they're not as good as that record. And even the books, you look at the markets, their win total is still at 5.5, minus 110 both ways. They haven't moved that with 13 games left. They're at 5.5. Minnesota's perfect 2-0 in the division, perfect 2-0 at home. I get it. They come off this. They're only one of the 5 teams to come back from London and not get a bye. And as far as favorites go, favorites are 1-1 straight up, 1-1 against the spread in that game preceding the game in London. So there's really not a lot of data there. I still think they're fast enough. So take the 6.5 point teaser. You drop both 7s. You get off both 7s. You go through the 3s, and it's cheaper by 15 cents than a money line parlay.
So one of the things I dislike about soccer is that when I'm looking for the live lines, I'm scrolling down and scroll. I started scrolling when you started talking, and I still haven't come up with the game we're going to talk about yet for Saturday. But I think I just know that I found it. This is the England Championship League. No. I need England League One. No. You're going to have to tell me what the odds are, Carm. I've been scrolling the whole way looking for this game, and I don't see it. Nonetheless, we're talking about Brighton versus Tottenham in the English Premier League. You like this game to get up and over the total of 2.5. You like both teams to score. Tell me why.
Yeah, I'll take the blame on that one. I should have put the prices in the info I sent. But Brighton are plus 175. The draw is plus 240. Tottenham is plus 150. So it's plus money right across the board. But I'm not going to take a side here because I think the total is the better of the play here. You got 2 teams that are in the top 4. Brighton's playing extremely well. Tottenham's the third highest scoring team. The total's at 2.5, minus 110 both ways. But the thing with Brighton is their manager left. He's at Chelsea now. They brought in one of my favorite Italian coaches and managers. I said, he's an attacking style, attacking philosophy. And his first game as manager, they go to Liverpool last week and the game finishes 3-3. They're very good at home. Their last home game, 5-2 win over Leicester. And you get Tottenham coming, who, again, they're coming off a snooze fest yesterday in Champions League, but they're a team that scores goals. This one is going to be a quick-paced game, but instead of taking the over 2.5, 110, Teddy, again, in saving money, you can take, because both teams are going to score in this game, you can take, there's a prop, both teams to score and over 2.5 at plus 120. You're saving 30 cents there on that. You're getting plus money as opposed to paying juice, and that's the way to go.
Carmine, Bianco, everyone, just awesome, dude. So happy to have you on. So happy that you've made a lot more money. So happy that your wife is going to be driving a CRV. Guys, use the promo code CIRCA150. That's Circa 150. You get $150 off of the rest of Carmine Bianco's NFL season. That includes his playoffs. Circa 150. I have promoted for you, Carm. Smile and get the hell out of here.
Later, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Art DiCesare joining us. Art, you heard about Carm and Trigger. Two WagerTalk guys splitting the first quarter of the Circa. And don't worry. Teddy and I are doing really well at the Westgate. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm good, fellas. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I was well aware of them and very happy for them. They're both two really good guys, and it's always good to see people win who you know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I'm not going to win, I'd rather it be someone I know. I'm with you 100%. Welcome to the show, dude. I'm going to hand it over to Teddy. He's going to get some actionable info from you while I just get ready for the daily presidential address, which, by the way, is going to be kick freaking ass. So get us to 100 likes. Teddy, the mic is yours.
Sure. Well, let's start with this, Art. You talk about contests and, quarterlies. And I know that Superbook for the Westgate Super Contest has 3-week periods, not like the 4-week periods. How much money did you give out in those 3-week stretches where guys get hot for a couple of weeks over at the Westgate with Superbook?
Yeah, it wasn't as much as the 105,000, but yeah, we do it a little bit different at the Westgate. Obviously, we break them up into 3 quarters, and then we have all sorts of other, in-game stuff going on. But yeah, I think that the our contest model is a little bit different than the Circa one because of the way we break it up, and then we have the reboot, we have the gold, so we just have a lot more different things going on. We got the wins contest. I know they have their Survivor thing, but yeah, I want to say, man, I know I'm going to get this wrong, but I want to say first place got like 25. I want to say that was the number. Like I said, I might have messed that up, but yeah, our first quarter, which was the first 3 weeks, I believe the top prize was like 25, 26.
25K is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
but when you have two guys from WagerTalk both walking away with 6-figure prizes, I never won a 6-figure contest. You ever won a 6-figure contest? I won 5-figure ones, but never a 6-figure one. Not in poker, not in sports betting. Have you done it?
I disagree, Teddy. Sorry, Art. Teddy has won a 6-figure contest. Teddy has won a 7-figure contest. It's called life. And it's the most important of all contests. Sorry.
No argument. That's great. But an actual contest that you can actually
I know. I haven't
somebody a winner.
I haven't either, dude. Come on. Let's just grab life and hold on to it and know that ultimately we won.
But no, to answer your question, Teddy, last year, man, I hit 60% in Circa. I was 1.5 points out of the money. That was like the best run I had ever made. I had one years ago that was pretty good, but last year, close to the money, but no, never anything like these guys did. And God bless them. I hope they continue to, start, continuing, shoot after that million.
Exactly. Yeah. 100 grand is a nice little start, but if you win the contest, worth a heck of a lot more. Everybody's shooting for that, whether you're playing at the Circa, the Westgate, or both. Let's talk some actionable information. Last day of the regular season in MLB. I want to talk about it real quick. Ralph Michaels sent out a tweet earlier talking about how unders are the way to go for the final day of the regular season, and under with 2 losing teams is especially the way to go at the end of the regular season. Have you seen under money come in today in baseball? Have you seen any money come in today in baseball? And when it comes to the postseason, are we seeing any popular teams in the MLB betting market?
Yeah, as far as the MLB goes, these last couple of days have been odd. It's been hard for us to put up a lot of overnight lines, which, we always want to do for baseball. Basically we've been putting up half of the board or less, because a lot of teams have clinched or, starters are getting moved around and just a lot of things like that. So, a lot of the times we see a lot of our sharper bettors come in on the overnight baseball stuff. They get in real early when the lines come out, but obviously that's not been the case these last couple of days. I have noticed some of the under trend, a lot of the totals have been, they haven't been high. You haven't seen any real 9.5s out there. There's been not a lot of that as far as the totals go. And just quick on, the MLB playoff stuff. We put out our series prices this morning. So obviously we're going to have 4 of these series that start. All 4 start on Friday. Baseball takes a 1-day break and then away we go. We have the Guardians as a slight favorite, minus 115 over Tampa. And remember, all these higher seeded teams are going to be at home. 3 games at home, they get all of them. That's the, advantage they get for being the higher seed. So in the American League, Guardians a slight favorite. You got Toronto minus 160 against Seattle. And then moving over to the National League, you got the Mets minus 175 against San Diego. And then you have the Cardinals minus 145 against the Phillies. So obviously, all the home teams are going to be favored, some as high as 175 in the Mets, some as low as 115 in the Guardians. I'll say this, I think the Guardians, with their pitching and the way they put the bat on the ball, pretty good price to get them minus 115.
Our DiCesare with a little MLB opinion for us and talking about today's totals. There's not even 9 on the board today in MLB. Every total, 8.5 or lower. Let's shift our focus over to college football for a few minutes. Obviously, a rare Wednesday night game tonight. What are you seeing action-wise for UCF SMU? Based on my perception, there's money for the dog. There was money for the under, and now there's money for the over. Is that 2 different groups battling it out? Was that a group that was kind of giving us a false move downward, and they actually wanted to bet a lot more on the over? Or is it just your 2-way action?
No, I'm with you, Teddy. And listen, I'm loving this Wednesday game, with all the day baseball. This is a little like early Maction, but it's not Maction. So I'm all about getting this Wednesday football. It's great. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm seeing split on both for the most part. Early for us, when we had the total as high as 66, we saw a lot of under money. And then you said it pretty much bottomed out for us at 62, and now it's started to climb back up. And I think really for us, we're getting more action on the total kind of balancing itself out. But I think if we're getting more money on a side, it's probably slightly for SMU, but nothing as far as this is going to be a big decision one way or the other for us. We'll still probably end up needing the under because of all the early under money that did come in. So right now our best result will be under, and then whatever happens on the side will probably be fine for us.
You'll be rooting for the under tonight over at the Westgate Superbook. Of course, you can follow Art DiCesare on Twitter at ArtDice21. He's an excellent follow, and he's a good guy. Anytime you're at the Westgate, be sure to stop in and say hi to Mr. DiCesare. He's also a great guest. I had him on Cover It with Teddy Covers last week on Sirius XM Channel 159. A real good show if you want to go back and download what he was talking about in terms of college football. One more college football question for you, Art. What else are we seeing this week in terms of early week wise guy action? And then we'll let Prez ask you a little bit about the NFL.
Sure, absolutely. A couple of things. Louisville goes to Virginia. Sharp money came in pretty early on Virginia at +4. It's only 3 right now, so it's not like it's been a crazy move, but I think a lot of that has to do with the Louisville quarterback situation. What's the deal with Malik Cunningham? Is he going to play? Is he not? UVA is not really that good of a team, so for the money to come in on UVA, That goes to show you that there's a lot of concerns with Louisville. Missouri at Florida. Missouri, emptied the tank last week at home against Georgia. Almost got the upset. Georgia, found a way to escape. They go to the Swamp this week. Open 10. It's now 11.5. Sharps jumped all over that 10 early. So you saw a lot of Florida money that came in early. So, I don't think that's any surprise because, like I said, Missouri basically, emptied the tank. I always got to throw a little MACtion in there, a little MAC football because, I love it. Ball State at CMU. Ball State was a 9.5-point dog early. Sharp bettors have jumped on Ball State. It's now 7.5. Money has continued to come in on Ball State, so it'd be interesting to see where that line ends for that game.
Art DiCesare, everyone. You can follow him on Twitter at ArtDice21. Art, let's move our attention to the NFL. Just a all-encompassing question. What are the biggest bets or the most amount of money that's coming in on any particular team? What have you noticed so far that can help our listeners?
Prez, as far as teams that people want to bet on, the Eagles have been very popular, not only in the week-to-week stuff, but the future book has been incredible with them. If you went all the way back to March, before free agency, before the draft, the Eagles were 50-1 to win the Super Bowl. They're not 8-1. I mean, I know they're the last undefeated team in the league. They look like the best team in the NFC right now. And then even, look at them this week. I mean, they go on the road to the Cardinals. We open them -4. I mean, instantly people jumped in on them. The sharp groups right away jumped in on them. It got to as high as 6, came back down a little bit with some buyback on the Cardinals, but the sharp players and the public have been very happy to ride this Eagle train, and I don't see that stopping.
Yeah. Yeah, Art, it's funny you mentioned the Eagles. I was up all night doing my NFL research. I'm taping the NFL presidential address in about half an hour. I like Arizona on the money line here, Art. I'll tell you that flat out. I think this is one of those interesting spots that we see every year where an undefeated, fat and sassy team hits the road. I'll tell you, if they have a bye the following week, but if they had Dallas the following week instead of the week after, man, I would be all over Arizona. So that was a fascinating game you chose because I like Arizona on the money line here. Teddy, I'll hand the mic over to you because you bitched me out in Slack for asking Art a shitty question.
It was ask him a question. You're sitting there dawdling and doing. It's like, Art, who do the wise guys like in NFL this week? Done. Or what's your reaction in NFL this week? Done. You're there for 3 minutes. You're like, Art, well, and then you give the same Twitter handle I gave out 10 seconds earlier. Well done, Prez. Nonetheless, Art DiCesare. We got time for one more question for you before we have to let you go, and that is this: who do you like in the NFL this week? What stands out to you? What are you betting at a sports book that's not the Westgate?
Wow. I would have said the Cowboys, but I feel like all the value has been, kind of sucked away on the Cowboys. It was 6. It's now 4.5. I just don't like what I see out of the Rams. The Cowboy defense is going to travel. It's a good defense. Obviously, the Rams short week, and Stafford doesn't look right to me. He just does not look healthy. You just watch him. He just doesn't look like Stafford of last year. And yeah, okay, it's going to be a quarterback traveling on the road like Cooper Rush, but I think the Cowboys are still interesting. And another one to throw out there that's gotten a lot of action, just as we talk about this sharp and public stuff, Niners, this team that beat the Rams on Monday night. That defense is incredible. When we opened that game, when they go to Carolina, it was 4 as well. Public jumped on that pretty early. There's been some sharps that got on it as well, but we're pretty buried to the Niners right now. Niners sitting as a 6.5-point road favorite at Carolina. Carolina looks like a mess, and the Niners look like they might be the best defense in the league.
Yeah, that they do. Art DiCesare, what do you got to promote?
Well, as always, gentlemen, Thursdays at the Westgate. Come down for 105 Thursdays. Put them out about, 1, 2 o'clock, and it's going to be, instead of paying the -110 juice, this is college and NFL sides and totals. You come in, you save a little bit on the juice, -105. pretty much runs all day on Thursdays. And, it's a good time to come down and get down for your weekend action and save yourself a little bit of money. And, still, we got a great promo on the app. It's a brand new app. Users come in, bet 100, get 100. Yep. Phenomenal promotion. We doubled it up from last year when it was $50. And, as always, guys, if anyone's ever down at the Westgate, they need help with anything. They need help getting the -105 sheets, drink tickets, seats, anything. Learning how to bet, learning how to read the board or the sheets, or getting signed up for the app. Come ask for Arthur DiCesare, and I'll be more than happy to help you with whatever you need.
Awesome stuff, Art DiCesare, everyone. Okay, Daniel, son, let's go. Okay, guys, what I want to talk about on this show, on this daily presidential address, is a strategy I use in NFL betting that I'm going to be using this week. It doesn't happen often, but there is an opportunity this week, and that is to take the Atlanta Falcons +8.5 and over the total of 48. What I want to do is I want to isolate this game down to one variable. Let's try get rid of, are there going to be turnovers? Are they going to run? Are they going to pass? Is it going to be a low-scoring game, a high-scoring game? Who's going to cover? Who's not? Let's just focus on one variable only, and that is, can the Falcons put up 20 points? If the Falcons can put up 20 points, with the line being 8.5 and 48, you can, at worst case scenario, go 1-1. But I'm a poker player. Let's say they don't put up 20 points. Well, you could get one of those on the turn or on the river. Because if they only put up 10 points and Tampa Bay puts up 17, you still go 1-1. And if Tampa Bay puts up 40 points and Atlanta puts up 17 points, you still go 1-1. Now, I don't want to go 1-1. I want to go 2-0. But I'm trying to put myself in a scenario where I have, let's say, a 40% chance of 1-1, or a 40% chance at 2-0 and a 20% chance at 0-2. That's sort of how I'm looking at this game. So I love when there is a huge dog and it's related to the total. And I do believe Atlanta can get 20. If you look at Atlanta, this year alone, they've gotten 23, 27, 27, and 26. Now, people will be like, yeah, but they haven't played the Tampa Bay D. Really? They played the New Orleans defense. They played the LA Rams defense. They played Cleveland's defense. They played the Bears defense. It's not like they're playing scrub defenses. This Atlanta team can put up 20, take Atlanta +8.5 and over the total. Lots of love, everyone. Teddy, my brother, take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition of Wager Talk Today. I want to thank Las Vegas Cris. We want to thank Arthur DiCesare, and of course, Carmine, Bianco in between. Want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us here on Wager Talk TV. You haven't done so already? Download the app. It's free. It's easy. You can get all this content on demand. Just download the free Wager Talk TV app. You know what to do tonight. Enjoy the games, and good luck.
The entire Wager Talk family would like to wish our very own Hakeem Prophet and Rob Vino a happy birthday with a special 2-for-1 promotion to lock in both handicappers for the next 3 days at the price of one. Rob and Ski both celebrate their birthday on Wednesday, but we want to keep this party going for 3 days. So instead of paying $118 to bet alongside them, we cut the price in half and you can lock them both up for 3 days for only $59. Happy birthday and happy betting.